I may as well record another video because there's something that keeps going through my head about my parents that I just feel I have to talk about because it's just fucking incredible. It's the weirdest thing, man. It's my father. It's my father. I mean, what I've come to realize about the guy is that I mean maybe it's because of a lack of fear. They say that psychopaths, their amygdala is being detached or whatever, so they have no fear, so they can't see consequences. Because if you don't fear jail, you're going to commit a crime. And this is one thing that I've really been astounded about a lot of the murder interviews I've watched is that not all of them, you can tell who's not a psychopath. They're emotionally distraught. Even if they're trying to get away with it, you can just tell, you know, the ones who are psychopathic, they just show no emotion. Not only when they're arrested and they're being interviewed, but when they're sentenced. And that's really astounding. I saw a woman yesterday sentenced to 22 years for killing her 5-year-old child in anger, in a fit of anger. And there was no emotion throughout the entire interview, and when she was sentenced, it was just unbelievable. Anyhow, but something that I've realized with my father, I'm not going to talk about fear because it's true I've never seen him express fear, but really what stands out is that he did not see consequences. I mean, the only reason why I was able to figure everything out is because he said things that were. I mean, when he told me that he didn't mind if I disappeared and I never saw him again, my mother kind of, she hinted at the same thing, but she did it in a smart way. I mean, she was human. She understands. She understood my empathy and she played on it. My father just didn't understand it. He didn't understand that things would come back and haunt him. When he sent my brother to St. Louis, it was a ruse. My brother bought a freezer. He bought a suit. He flies to St. Louis to go into business with my father's friend, and my father's friend has no idea what's going on. My father just did it to get rid of my brother because my brother was depressed because he found out that he was dating a lesbian, and so he called my parents depressed. And my father at the time was probably living with a man or a boy, and he didn't want my brother coming to this city and seeing them. So my father just wanted to get rid of him. So what did he do? He makes this whole bullshit up. My brother wastes tons of money. He comes back. I mean, that was at the end of my brother. That was really the beginning of the end of him, because that was the first time he ever told me not to listen to my father. No matter what he said, just don't listen to him. He tells you to do something, he asks you to do something, just ignore it. Uh, Now he knew more about my father, obviously, than I did. But it wasn't just that. My mother told me that they're standing in line to go into the USA illegally because they were living there illegally, and had they been stopped at the border, they would have been questioned. So my mother had a story going with my father. My mother told me that when they were at the border, my father forgot the story. And not only did he forget the story, he didn't realize or remember that he needed to have a story. This is what my mother was like astounded about. My mother yelled when I was a child a few times, he's brain damaged, he's brain damaged. So I really think that is what happened to my father. He became a psychopath through that trauma to his brain when he dived into the rocks at 8 years old. And he just couldn't see consequences for anything he did. And that's why he kept getting arrested throughout his entire life. Even, who knows, maybe now. I mean, I have been thinking that perhaps my mother kept throwing my friends out and my girlfriends out and not allowing anyone into the house. Perhaps not necessarily because there was a legal reason, like parole or probation of my father or conditions, but perhaps because my mother caught my father masturbating or something when my friends were over and we were little boys. Perhaps my mother realized that he cannot control himself, and there is no way, because he can't control himself. As far as I understand and what I've known of my father, and what I'm telling you now is maybe he can control himself, but he can't see consequences. So why would he control himself? You see what I mean? He doesn't understand. He doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. He doesn't, or he understands that, but he doesn't. He used to always say, "Where's my head? Where's my head? Ah, where's my head?" And once in a while, we all do that, right? We know we should be doing something in the back of our mind, but we don't stop ourselves. Um, like, for instance, something that people would confess to me in this neighborhood is that as soon as there's one nice day, they start wearing their spring jacket and their summer jacket, and they end up getting sick because one nice day doesn't mean that the rest of the days are going to be nice. And I did that to myself too. Everyone on the floor did it. We all got sick over the past few weeks, and we were all talking. Yeah, because as soon as one nice day comes, we give up our winter jacket, and we do it every year. And even when I was doing it, I was like, "This is stupid, man. It's gonna be cold out. You can't just switch over because you felt one nice hot day. Like, look at the temperature. It's -2." But I would still do it. So I believe with my father's situation, that's the way it is with everything. He'll never remember. He'll never learn from his mistakes. Anyways, that's something that it's something that I just keep thinking about, and it's why I feel like, my God, it was such a situation that, it's beyond evil. When I first thought everything about my parents, I thought it was pure evil, but no, it's basically immaturity, stupidity, and brain damage combined. My mother too. My mother's been doing cocaine, every day since she's in her teenage years, and drinking. Her brain is probably mashed potatoes by today. Um, Anyhow, I just wanted to put that out there.